What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul Oneid. I'm the head coach at Master Athletic Performance. I'm also the lead educator and founder at Coach's Corner University. And we're sitting here Thursday, August 13th, 2 days out from my first ultramarathon. For those of you who are new to the channel, I am a doer of hard things. I've competed in powerlifting, being the top 10 all time in 2 different weight classes at the same time. And I've also competed in bodybuilding, now looking to add ultramarathon to my athletic resume. I've also been a performance coach for 20 years, having taken my first client in 2006, 2007. And now I mentor other coaches on how to build their businesses and serve others to the highest level. Today, we're going to go over, what's my strategy 2 days out from a race. I did my first 30K race 3 weeks ago. The video was posted and it went really well. I dealt with a little bit of adversity leading into it, having had a bit of a back injury. This time, no back injury, thankfully, but feeling pretty beat up. I don't think I fully recovered after that race before getting back into training. Training since then has been pretty good, but definitely sore, definitely beat up, and not feeling super prepared heading into this race. But that doesn't mean we're not going to show up and do our best. And that also means that we're not going to prepare to the best of our abilities. So today I'm going to take you through what's going to be my carb loading strategy. We're done all the hard training. Now it's just about recovery, getting the body as ready as possible. So we're going to be increasing our carbs. That's going to be a main strategy. And then we're also going to go over what kind of gear we're going to be using for the race and race day nutrition strategy as well. So I'm sitting here. I've got sourdough bread, 50 grams of banana, and about 15 grams of honey, and we're going to get this down. I just have some low impact cardio today, so I'm going to hit that on the Stairmaster, and we'll catch you in the garage. All right, so just had my coffee, finished a little bit of client work, starting off with just 45 minutes of low intensity cardio on the elliptical. Typically I would do a shorter run, but because I've been feeling pretty beat up, especially in my Achilles, opting for some low impact stimulus, just get the heart rate moving, get some blood flow going. And this is also another way to get in a little bit of extra carbohydrates. Typically for a low impact session, heart rate's only between like 110 to 120. So I wouldn't add in carbohydrates to a session like this normally, but since we're carb loading, we're gonna leverage that stimulus to get in some additional carbs. One thing I've been playing around with is my electrolytes, and I'm finding that because I'm a larger runner, I'm sweating a ton. So I'm losing a ton of sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and replacing that intra-training has been fantastic. So I've been playing around with coconut water, mixing it in with my typical carb powder. So the coconut water per cup is going to be an additional 500 milligrams of potassium. Then I'm going to add in 500 milligrams of sodium. This also has another 200 milligrams of potassium. And then the carb powder is going to be 25 grams of carbs, another 200 milligrams of sodium. All of this together works out to about 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams of sodium, another 800 milligrams of potassium. So fantastic addition to it. It's also going to be about 36 grams of carbohydrates. Before we hopped on, we had the 100 grams of sourdough, we had 15 grams of honey, and we had 50 grams of banana. That works out to about 70 grams of carbs. So just for this, 45 minutes of cardio work, getting in close to 100 grams of carbs, a ton of simple sugars that are readily available for us. So going ahead and measure 250 milligrams or 250 mils of the coconut water. 257, close enough. Another 500 milligrams of sodium. $25 grams of carbs, a little bit extra sodium. Topping it off. So that's another 750 mLs of water. I also had 750 mLs of water as soon as I woke up with another gram of sodium. So cramming in a ton of water, a ton of electrolytes during this morning period. Now, the other thing that I've started supplementing with before harder sessions, so before my Tuesday, Thursday interval sessions, and then before my long runs, is nitrates. So nitrates are proven to improve aerobic capacity, help to buffer lactate to a larger degree, and improve performance in aerobic activity. Typically, you can use them the morning of those hard sessions, and then also 3 to 5 days leading into the race and the day of the race to, again, improve performance. Is this going to make a big difference? I don't know, but at this point, I'm willing to do everything I can to make sure that I'm able to put my best foot forward on race day. This is another 11 grams of carbohydrates. It's basically just beetroot powder and some additional nitrates. It works out to about 500 milligrams of nitrates, which is the clinically approved dosage. It tastes like absolute garbage, so I will just shoot this back and you can enjoy my face.
All right, so in the garage on the Stairmaster, nothing special here. One of the things that I've been playing with as well during this prep for the last 3 weeks is heat exposure. So typically when I'm in the garage, I will put the fan on, especially when I'm running because I sweat like crazy, is I'll put the fan on just to cool myself while I'm running. But with this race, it's going to be incredibly humid and I'm going to be running for 6 to 7 hours. So being able to mitigate heat is going to be something that's very important. So usually what I'll do is 4 days a week at minimum, I will get in the sauna after a weight training session when my heart rate and my body temperature is already elevated, just to help me get acclimatized to the heat. And if you use a Garmin watch, it'll give you a heat acclimation rating based on your exposure to the heat and your fitness adaptation in that environment. Phenomenally effective because being exposed to the heat trains you to dissipate heat a little bit quicker. And it also increases blood plasma volume and hemoglobin production. So a lot of the research coming out lately has been around heat providing a lot of the same adaptations as training at altitude. And again, trying to use as many tools and strategies as I can to put my best foot forward on race day. All right, I'm gonna knock out this 45 minutes. We'll catch you after for breakfast.
All right, had a quick shower, got 45 minutes in on the Stairmaster, and then did a little bit of mobility on my hips. This meal is too long to fit in a screenshot, but it's just like a granola protein Greek yogurt bowl that I've been making every morning. I just adjusted the portion sizes. So we've got 100 grams of Greek yogurt, half a scoop of protein powder, 60 grams of granola, 60 grams of Rice Krispies, 15 grams of honey, 15 grams of peanut butter, which is the only added fats that I'll have today, 40 grams of raisins, 150 grams of berries, and then the other half of the banana. So this meal is 40 grams of protein, 175 grams of carbs, and just shy of 20 grams of fat, almost 1,000 calories, which brings the total for the day up to 54 grams of protein, 307 carbs, and 21 fats. So already had 1,591 calories today. I also have a quarter teaspoon of salt in this meal, and I'm having a Cadence drink, which is another 500 milligrams of salt. One thing that people forget when they are carb loading is, number one, reducing protein. So typically I will aim for 225 grams of protein per day on my baseline diet. I've brought that down to about 175 to 180 grams of protein for the day. I also tend to have about 500 to 600 grams of carbs. Today I'm hoping for over 800 grams of carbs. And then I usually have about 75 to 80 grams of fat. I brought that down to 45. So total calories for the day will only be about 200 or 300 above my baseline diet. My activity level is much lower, so that's going to compensate for the calorie flux. But we're not necessarily trying to increase total calories by more than 5 to 10% when carb loading, but we're essentially reducing protein and fats to speed up digestion. And then we are replacing the calories from that protein and fat with additional carbohydrates to make sure that glycogen stores are full. The other thing that people do is they tend to pull fiber. I've already had 22 grams of fiber in this day already. I'll probably end up around 50 grams of fiber for the day. The only time you want to pull fiber is that last day before the competition, before your race, because at that point, you're not trying to have any additional residual gut volume to make sure that we have good digestion on race day. The other thing is you need additional sodium and water to uptake that carbohydrate that you're increasing. So increasing your electrolyte intake, increasing your water intake proportional to the carbohydrates that you're ingesting is gonna help with that digestion. I'm gonna get this meal in and get to work. It was me, I let them out. Sitting down for meal number 2, we've got 200 grams of pineapple, 140 grams of 96.4 beef, 350 grams of rice, and some veggies. Pretty simple meal. It's the same foods I've been eating. I just increased the portion size of the rice by about 1.5, and then increased the portion size of the pineapple by 1.5. It's super rocket sciencey. I'm just gonna watch a podcast, just finished working, getting ready for my group mentorship call. I do a call every Thursday at 1 p.m. with all of my mentees. It's my favorite call of the week. Super interactive, very collaborative. We all share different things that are going on within our coaching practices. We talk about the industry, we talk about scheduling, priorities, time management, personal development. The calls go in any number of directions and always leave there with my cup filled. I'll also have a coffee during that, second coffee of the day. Hopefully won't need a third, but who knows where the day will take us. Then after that call, I have to do an onboarding for another client, and then I will take you through the gear that I'm gonna be using for the Ultramarathon, which is gonna be pretty cool. So I'll take you through all the gear and the intra-race nutrition that I have planned, and we'll see whatever pops up. All right, meal number 3, it's about 3:25. I got a meeting in 7 minutes, so I gotta house this. 350 grams of rice, 140 grams of ground turkey, and I already started eating it, but I had 200 grams of apple. I'll have the calories up for you here. Fantastic group mentorship meeting. Really excited about the conversations that we're having. And then also the way the industry is moving. There's a lot of changes right now, so we're talking about it all and how it affects us and our businesses. Yeah, so I'll catch you in a second. All right, so gear that I'm gonna be taking with me on race day. First off, this isn't a normal ultramarathon. Typically marathons or ultramarathons always run in either loops or out and backs. This one is a multi-loop race. So it's 3.5 miles, and every 3.5 miles I come back to the start. So that means I have access to an aid station or my stuff every 3.5 miles, which is great. The challenge is that also adds time to the race every time I stop. So the important thing is to have everything that I need readily accessible. So I'm going to be at the start line with a folding chair and my cooler. In the cooler, it's going to be filled with ice, and I'm going to have all of my hydration, all of my fuel, everything that I need will be in this cooler, and I'll go over all that stuff now. So I'm gonna have 8 of these soft flasks. Each one of them holds 500 milliliters of water. In each one of these, I'm going to have 1 scoop of Tailwind, so that's 25 grams of carbs. That's also going to be mixed with 125 mLs of coconut water. The coconut water, like I mentioned earlier today, for the additional potassium. And it's also going to have about a half scoop of Redmond's Relight, which is a high sodium, each scoop being 810 milligrams. And it's going to have an additional 400 milligrams of potassium as well per scoop. So each one of these is going to have 1 scoop of Tailwind, which is 25 grams of carbs, 11 grams of carbs from the coconut water and additional potassium, and then an additional 400 milligrams of sodium and 200 milligrams of potassium. That's going to be my hydration. I'm also going to have an extra shaker cup, or 2 shaker cups, which is an additional 2 liters. So I'll have 4 liters in soft flasks, 2 liters in shaker bottles, and then another 2 liter bottle of that same mixture in another bottle. So I'll have 8 liters of hydration fuel with me, to an equivalent of 200 grams of carbohydrates. So 8 times 3, 240 grams of carbohydrates from just the liquid that I'm consuming. Then the goal is every 30 minutes, I'm going to be having either a gel or a chew. Now I'm going to be rotating between 3 gels. So I have the BPN Go gels, which are 24 grams of carbs. I have those same BPN gels that have 75 milligrams of caffeine. I'll probably have one of these every hour and a half or so. And then I also have these Science and Sport 40-gram gels. These I'll probably have every third gel. So I'm basically just going to rotate between gels. I'll also have a bunch of these Precision Nutrition chews. These chews are great because they're just carbohydrates and they're very small. The other thing to remember is carbohydrate metabolism starts in the mouth. So your saliva contains amylase, and amylase starts digesting carbohydrates before they enter the stomach. What I've found is that mixing these in with my carbohydrate gels has been settling my stomach quite a bit. So I'll probably have one of these every second or third. So the majority of my gel type fueling will come from these chews as long as my stomach feels good. The goal will be, can I get about 100 grams per hour, which means if I'm getting 6 to 7 hours of running, I should be having 600 to 700 grams of carbohydrates throughout the total of the race. Liv wants you to see her sourdough, so we'll show you her sourdough. Look at that beauty.
It's raw. It's not cooked yet. Just to clarify.
Just to clarify, I hope you heard it's raw. It's not cooked yet. All right, next, what am I going to wear in my body? So I will have multiple shirts. Both of my shirts are going to be kind of a more ventilated shirt. They've got laser cuts in them, and they also are moisture wicking, so they're not going to absorb the water. They're going to allow that to cool me a little bit better. And so probably rotate between two shirts. I might go shirtless for a while. It depends on the weather. The other thing I'll be wearing is this belt. This belt is called a naked belt. Fantastic. It's got huge pockets. My plan is to carry as little stuff on my body as possible. In my last race, I had to carry a hydration vest with me. So at the beginning of the race, I was carrying 4 liters of water. So almost 10 pounds of additional stuff on me with all my gels. I don't have to do that this time because I get to return back to my aid station every loop. So I plan only to carry one of the soft flasks along with some gels with me at all times and my phone. The other thing I might carry with me is my trail poles. This race doesn't have a ton of elevation, but I am going to have the poles with me just in case I get tired. The cool thing about this belt is it has these loops on the back, and I can just slide the poles into the loops when I'm not using them, pull them out without working too hard, and be able to access them. They also deploy pretty easily, and these are pretty cool. They have these. I forget what they call them. I think they call them monkey grips, and they just insert through a little loop here, and they lock in. And then to unlock, you just push this button down, and they unlock, so I can carry them. Very, very nice. I don't have to squeeze the poles. Like, they can just rest in my hand really nicely. I'll be wearing my Garmin heart rate monitor throughout, so I can capture all the heart rate data, make sure I'm not having some sort of aneurysm. And then for a hat, I'll be wearing a John G hat. Yes, this is very fluorescent. Yes, it's very ugly, but I can also take some of that ice from my cooler, put it in my hat for additional cooling. The other thing I'm going to be wearing that's going to help with cooling is this ice bandana. So this bandana is pretty cool, not because it's stylish by any means, but it has this little pocket in the end where I can put ice cubes in it, wrap it around my neck, have that cooling on my neck. My plan is also to have a few 500 milliliter like generic water bottles that I've frozen, and I'll be running with those in my hands. What that's going to be palmar cooling, so cooling the palms, also helps to reduce core body temperature. It's going to be really hot. It's going to be in the 90s. It's going to be under a tree canopy, holding in all the humidity. So everything I can do to cool my body down is going to be beneficial. So I'm going to try and maximize that as much as possible, on top of the heat training that I've been doing, so I should be used to it. I'll be wearing some John G half tights, which are the most comfortable half tights that I own. Basically feels like I'm running in my underwear, which is nice. And lastly, trail shoes. We're wearing the Mount to Coast H1s. These don't have a very aggressive lug on them. They are more of a road to gravel shoe, but it won't be very wet. And I've run in these on the trail that the race is going to be run on, and they were totally fine, didn't have any issues. So really, really love this shoe. It's very light, very responsive, it has a great rocker on it, and my feet did not feel beat up at all during my 30K race, so I know that's one they'll do just fine. Hopefully this was beneficial for you. That's all the gear. Now I gotta pull all this shit away. All right, last meal of the day was on a conference call with a functional health mentorship that I'm a part of. So ate that last meal while I was on the call. It was 350 grams of basmati rice, 125 grams of veggies, 100 grams of watermelon, 175 grams of peaches, and another 140 grams of ground beef. That brings the daily total to 180 grams of protein, 734 grams of carbs, 49 grams of fat. It was a tough meal to eat. I'm very full. But total calories for the day, 4,054. So went over a bit of a day in the life, full day of eating as I carb load for the race, as well as reviewing all of the equipment that I'm going to be using in my race day nutrition. I hope this was beneficial. I hope you guys learned something. I'm going to try to get back to more of these day in the life type of videos, letting you know how I approach these challenges that I'm undertaking, and a little bit of the background and the planning and stuff like that, because I am a bit of a tech nerd when it comes to logistics. It just makes it more fun to have more moving parts. So if you like the video, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We'll catch you on the next one.